move on to our next speaker, who again, we're fortunate to have Sripad Bhaksiddhanta Mahavir Maharaj and to get to hear from him another time on this program. I hope he's here. I haven't, oh, I see you. I see Maharaj. I'm going to ask you to unmute. He has had Diksha and Harinam from Srila Gurudev in 2007 and really became a brahmachari at that point, lived in Sri Keshavaji Gaudiya Math, and then in 2017, 10 years later, received sannyas from Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj. We're fortunate to have him offer Pushpanjali yesterday, and please, Maharaj, whenever you are ready and when you're through your invocation, you'll have 30 minutes to offer again today. Dandavat pranams and welcome and Hari Bol. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Didi, Dandavat pranams to everyone. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjanan Shalakaya Chakshuruntam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Stadhalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Narayanam Gurum Vande Sharanyam Bhakta Bandhavam Gauramanu Purnam Radha Dasyam Pradayakam Rupanugacharya Varyambu Rupa Manjari Preshtakam Patita Pavana Bandhavam Yugacharya Narayanam Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavan Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramu 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 Hare Hare. So first of all, I begin offering my most humble obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of Paramaradattam Shri Guru Pada Padma Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Sto Sata Srimad Srila Bhaksiddhanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudeva. And to my most worshipful Sannyasa Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Sto Sata Srimad Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj and Shri Rupa Gauriya Guru Varga, to all Tridandi Sannyasas, Brahmacharis, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and to all the assembled devotees here today, my most respectful obeisances. So we are very fortunate to be again here today, speaking and hearing the glories of Srila Prabhupada, who is actually the very backbone of our Gauriya mission. And so I brought some good points for us to discuss today again, sort of continuing in the same line as I presented yesterday, ground Guru Tattva, because Guru Tattva is foundation, and Srila Prabhupada himself, he was not only the perfect example of a Guru, but also as a disciple. He also set up the pure and the highest example. So, therefore, his name is Saraswati, which refers to knowledge. Actually, is not to the general Saraswati, like goddess Saraswati, but in fact, Shuddha Saraswati, which is actually the origin of knowledge, which is Srimati Radhika herself. So Srila Bhaksiddhanta Saraswati Thakura is the one who understands all the Siddhanta about Srimati Radhika. He is the bona fide representative of Srimati Radhika. And therefore, he is the one who has come to establish the preaching center of Srimati Radhika. So Gauriya means actually the training center for all the followers of Srimati Radhika. And that is a very long dream of Krishna as well as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Both, they want that everyone should serve their ultimate object of Srimati Radhika. So in this way, it has happened finally, maybe a century ago, that this center was established. And and as a result, now everyone who is eligible, of course, can dive very deep in all the Siddhanta about Srimati Radhika. So in this way, but to go there, it's not so simple. And as Srila Prabhupada himself told, very rare souls in this world at any moment of the time of history are able to actually understand who is Srimati Radhika and her glories. So in this way, he had to actually give a very basic, very like foundation preaching to everyone, so that gradually by and by they could, come to that higher platform of understanding who is Srimati Radhika. But his desire is that. His desire is to make everyone a dasi of Srimati Radhika. That is the sole purpose of our mission. So now, coming to a very, basic and important level, Srila Prabhupada, he established that, of course, in the 10 offenses of the holy names, the gravest offense is to consider the spiritual master to be like ordinary human. But if that you find out that your guru is like ordinary human, then what you should do? Then you should look for someone who is not, who is actually in the highest level. And Srila Prabhupada, he used to tell many different type of stories, very simple stories, to illuminate the audience, and that was actually compiled afterwards in a book called Upakhyan Upadesh. So there is the compilation of all these small stories that he used to always tell, and one of them is a story of the family for the Gita. It's a very famous story that one renounced man, he sannyas, and his guru gave him a copy of the Bhagavad Gita and told him, you should study this book every day. You should, go deep in the Bhagavad Gita, and by that you should perform your sadhana like that. So that man, he went to live inside a cave in the Vindhya hills. And then in the cave, like a wild place, a mouse came and started to eat the pages of the book. So after that, he thought, better if I bring a cat, so the cat can chase the mouse and my Gita won't be eaten anymore. But for the maintenance of the cat, milk was needed, and milk was quite expensive. So he thought better to have a cow. So then he got a cow. But now he has also to take care of the cow. Then he thought, now I have to hire someone who will take care of the cow. And then after he thought, but who will feed this guy? He also needs food. So after that, what happened is that he thought, better if I get a job, then I will get good money, then I can pay for all these, expenditures. So afterwards, he thought, now I have a house, I have many things to do, I need a wife, so she can help me with all these house duties. And finally, he got married. So, and he was so entangled and involved in his, house duties and his job and everything, family duties, that he simply totally rejected and neglected the study of the Bhagavad Gita. So after some time, his guru came and met with him. Then the guru asked, what happened? I left you as a sannyasi, as a renounced person, and now I see you have a house, a family, and many, many things. And he said, oh, I did everything for the sake of your Bhagavad Gita. So this type of foolishness that Srila Prabhupada is trying to point out is that many so-called gurus, they are living like sense enjoyers, but still they want to pose as renounced or as a, somehow, like a sannyasi, or like a Babaji, especially, because of the the Babajis who used to have a lot of illicit relations, Srila Prabhupada used to always, tell this story. And there is another very interesting story as well. Foolishness, about foolishness, is that there was a very simple village man that began to hear some English words. British were like in India, and he was like hearing English, like a little bit here and there. And then he thought, oh, it would be very good if I memorize some English words and I can, start to speak, and people, they would think that I'm a very educated person, this and that. So he memorized 4 words: yes, good, yes, no, and very good. So after some time, there was a murder in his village, and the bandits who went there, they somehow arranged that he would be blamed by that murder. So finally, the police came and took him to court. So in the court, the judge began to inquire from him, and then the judge asked, "Did you commit the murder?" And the man, in his simplicity, he thought, "Oh, if I can answer in English, the judge, he will think that I'm a very educated person. I could never murder someone." So he just replied, "Yes." And then again, the judge, he asked, "But did you, was anybody else with you?" And he said, "No." Then the judge said, "Okay, now you realize that you have to go to jail because of this crime." And the man answered, "Very good." So this type of foolishness that Srila Prabhupada is trying to say is that there are many people who memorize many verses of scriptures and who become so puffed up due to their capacity of repeating like a parrot many type of scriptural knowledge, but they don't have the realization of that. And they will try to present themselves in society in such a way that they will look like very erudite, very scholar. But when the real authority comes in front of them, someone who has the real knowledge, he looks just like a fool. So in this way, we should be very careful, because there are many so-called gurus who have a lot of like technical knowledge. They're able to repeat verses and verses, the whole Gita, the whole Bhagavatam, many Vedas and Puranas and Upanishads, but they have no actual knowledge of that. And what happened? It becomes like dry knowledge. And for that, there is a very good story, just to show some example, was that once a man, a very erudite Pandit, came to Srila Prabhupada, and he came from very far, and he wanted to discuss Vedanta with Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada, knowing the heart of that person, he said, "Look, I'm very busy now. I cannot have time for you right now. But if you go to where my pujari is now washing all the paraphernalia of the deities, and you go there and wait for me there helping him, I can talk to you later." That man became like offended. He thought, "But I came here to discuss Vedanta. I'm such a high-class scholar. How can I just like sit there and like scrub paraphernalia?" And Srila Prabhupada said, "That is my condition." So not having any other option in front of him, then he went there. And for some time, he was helping the pujari to scrub, and polish like the deity's paraphernalia and many things. And after some time, Srila Prabhupada, he came down and he went there. And then he told the man, "Okay, I am ready to answer all your questions." And then that man, he folded his palms and he said, "Now I have no more questions, because while I was here washing this, all my questions were answered one after another. I don't know what miracle happened, how that happened, But the thing is that now I have understood everything. So what Srila Prabhupada forced that man to do was to have actual, like, realized knowledge, which does not come from studying, but from service, direct service, menial service. That is the, like, that's the main way of attracting mercy to you. Srila Jiva Goswami Pad, one of the greatest scholars of like whole history, he was like a menial servant of Srila Rupa Goswami and other Vaishnavas, Narottam Das Thakur, and so many. All our acharyas are lying. They have done menial services. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada, he was showing practically who can actually be realized, and who can have that transcendental knowledge, which it was just mentioned as before by Rasik Mohan Prabhu, this adokshaja knowledge. So that will only come from service. That Srila Prabhupada, he made very, very clear from this example. So, and now talking about deities and paraphernalia, Srila Prabhupada has wonderful teachings about that and the relationship with the deities. And I want to share some of them. Once he was having darshan of the deities in Sri Chaitanya Math, he just opened the door, like the side door of the pujari, and he put himself like half inside, and he was having darshan of the deities. But he was not with his glasses on. And then the pujari told, "Oh, Srila Prabhupada, please come in, come closer, so that you can see better because you are not wearing your glasses." And Srila Prabhupada was so upset, and he, and he little bit chastised that pujari. He said, "Look, we should not think that darshan of the Supreme Lord is something that we can see from our mundane vision, but rather the real darshan is when the deities are seeing you. So if you can realize that, then this is the real darshan." Many times Srila Prabhupada, he used to chastise the people, or a little bit like tease them, when they used to tell him, "We have gone to Vrindavan and we took darshan of such and such deities," or "We have gone to Mayapur for darshans for such and such deities." He used this many, many times, and he used to say that, "Oh, really? You can have darshan of those deities? Oh, then you are a liberated soul. Then you should now give up all your material duties and attachments and just surrender yourself and do your bhajan. Because if you can have darshan, then you are like a pure devotee." And then he used to come to that very point. Actual darshan means I'm not seeing that statue. I'm not seeing that, what our senses are capturing. But real darshan means that I can show myself to the deity. And if I am so fortunate enough that the deities can see me, then my whole existence and that darshan is possible. This is one side of seeing that. The other side, of course, is that the pure devotees, they are not seeing the murti itself. They are seeing Krishna himself directly. So that doesn't matter from which angle, with specs or not, they can see Krishna directly. They have the transcendental vision for that as well. So another very interesting point is that Srila Prabhupada teaches who can offer bhoga, and what is the different relationship that the three levels of devotees have in offering bhoga to deities. So first he said, Kanishadikaris, they will offer bhoga to the deities following all the rituals, with bell, with mantra, with plate, waiting, following everything, closing the curtains, following all the rules and regulations, under the guidance of their spiritual master, of course, like taking becoming like the assistants of their guru, because the guru is actually offering. So everything they should do. This is like Kanishadikari's process for offering. But Madhyamadikaris, they somehow may not offer following all these rules, and sometimes they even may offer directly to their hearts, to the deities in their hearts, to their Ishtadev, Then he said, but the Uttamadikaris, they will sometimes not even offer, but they will consider that everything which come to them, it is already the prasad and the remnants, the mercy of Krishna. So we should never think that the Mahabhagavat is not offering, but he considers that already prasad. I don't know if I'm very clear with what I want to say, but one example for that is with Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj. Once he was getting some like visitors, and then that was Siddhanti Maharaj and some other devotees. And then Siddhanti Maharaj himself, he brought some garland from the market, and he just opened that and he gave to Srila Maharaj that garland. And then Srila Maharaj immediately he took that garland and he touched to his forehead, paying pranam to that garland. And Siddhanti Maharaj told Maharaj, actually this garland is not from Thakurji, it's not like prasadi garland. This is I just brought from market. And then Srila Maharaj said, no, this is a misconception. This is Bhagavan's mercy to me. This is the greatest Mahaprasad. So another instance also happened with Srila Maharaj. Sometimes people used to bring many packets of sweets to him, and he used just from market and straight going to him, and he used to put under his bed. And whenever someone would come to him, he would always deliver some piece of prasadam to them, like whomever at any time, at any moment. That was like his like tradition. Then once one devotee, he raised the question, saying that, Maharaj, you say that you are giving prasadam to everyone, but these sweets were not offered. You just took from under your bed and you distributed to everyone. And then at that time, Madhava Priya Prabhu explained to him in that same way, saying that, look, for Srila Maharaj's conception, that is already prasadam. And secondly, whatever a pure devotee is giving to you, that is also have become prasadam, just for that, you know. So in this way, we should never doubt if a pure devotee is offering or not offering his whatever is there, because sometimes he's not offering, but the reason is that he considers that already Mahaprasad. So this is a very important teaching of Srila Prabhupada. So regarding bhajan, our spiritual practice, Srila Prabhupada, he settled many examples. One of them, he said, we should become introspective. We should come out of our like senses, perception, and we should become introspective, and not to be attached to the form, but to the essence of the process of bhakti. For instance, sometimes we may arrange a very beautiful temple, a very beautiful hall, very appealing for the senses, to the eyes, to the to the smell, very like like perfume place, and many things which are attracting people, through their senses, very tasty prasada, many things like that. But then he said we should not think that bhakti is that is helping people to come, but coming to what? Come to the essence, and that essence is the real bhajan, which does not depend on any external form. Like, if the kirtan is beautiful or not, that doesn't matter. Nam is nam, right? If the deities is well dressed or not, if the deity's cloth is old or new, is golden or just like plastic, that doesn't matter at all. The thing is, we have to go to the essence and to the point, because sometimes we become so much attracted through our senses, through all these things, and then we miss the point. And then Srila Prabhupada, he said also a very important thing. There is no need for artificial remembrance of Krishna's Astakalya Lila or any pastime of Krishna. He said, Kirtana Prabhave Smarana Swabhave. It means that by doing Kirtan, automatically Smarana will come. Automatically Darshan will come, realization will come. So just do the kirtan. In the Bihad Bhagavatamrita also, Gopkumar is saying the same thing. First, we should do kirtan, and by having perfection in kirtan, then smarana will come. So in this way, there is no need for artificial remembrance of Krishna's pastimes, forms, qualities, etc. There is no need for engaging ourselves in artificial Ashtakaliya Lila Smarana. And especially he's telling that to the Sahajiya Bhavajis, who have not even crossed the border of bodily conception of life. And they call themselves this gopi, that gopi, Once Srila Prabhupada, he went to Vrindavan for the first time, and he said something really strong. He said, I have gone through all Vrindavan. I could not find one Vaishnava. It's a very bold statement, and also very difficult to reconcile. I am unable to give any comments on that, but that is his words. I was unable to find a single Vaishnava. And Srila Gurudev also, he said, in Radha Kunda, 99% of everyone there is loose character. They have not learned even how to clean themselves after passing. And they want to be called this Manjari, that Manjari, Gopi Bhav, Gopi this and that. So this is nonsense. So in this way, we should be very careful. And once I also asked to Srila Bhaktivinoda Bharati Goswami Maharaj about that. When he gave me sannyas, I asked him, Maharaj, is there any meditation or anything I should do for this mantra? Because when we receive Diksha mantras, our Gurudeva, he described a type of meditation that we should do. And he said, no, don't artificially try to remember anything. You just chant this mantra. When your heart becomes pure enough, then everything will be revealed to you. This mantra is Krishna himself, is Radha herself. This mantra is a living mantra. So just try to chant it purely, following properly rules and regulations, become qualified, and then automatically all these revelations that will come in your heart. Try to become rid from all offenses. Try to follow properly the Vaishnava etiquette. Try to follow proper your dharma, your Deva Varnashram dharma, now as a sannyasi. And then automatically everything will come. There is nothing to worry about that. So that was also Srila Prabhupada's mood. I don't know about my time, how much more I have, just let me know, and I will continue or not.
You have about 5 more minutes, Maharaj. All
right. Okay, so let us talk about a little bit a nice point about Srila Prabhupada's. Because look, I will take as an example Srila Bharati Goswami Maharaj again. Once, someone came to him and mentioned to him actually directly in a very unpolite way that he was not a Rasik devotee, because he was not speaking very nice, open, Ras Katha as my Gurudev was speaking to everyone, and this and that. And then how disciples of Srila Gurudev could, take shiksha from him, very foolish person, But anyway, some good teachings always come because Vaishnavas will always, enlighten the people, So then in a very humble way, first of all, he said that, look, it is true. I cannot be compared to Srila Narayana Goswami Maharaj. He is so great. And he begins to praise Srila Gurudev so much, this and that, But the main point is, the way Srila Prabhupada himself have preached, if we put him in another context, and this person also would come and would say, oh, Srila Prabhupada is not a Rasik devotee. He's not speaking openly about Rasa Tattva, Gopi Bhav, Manjari Bhav, all these things. He's even forbidding his disciples to speak openly about 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. They want them only to preach Prahlad Charit, Dhruva Charit and other things. Very rare to find him speaking about some confidential topics. But how can we claim Srila Prabhupada is not a Rasik devotee? He's topmost Rasik devotee. But what he is doing, he is speaking to time, place, and circumstance, according to time, place, and circumstance. But I'll tell you something more like funny is that most of the Gaudiya Mats, they follow Srila Prabhupada's style. And Srila Gurudev was the one who actually was opening more because that was his service, as we know very well. He was not like deviating. That was rather an his order to him. And everyone in Gaudiya Mat, mostly they follow like speaking basic things. But during Kartik time, these Gaudiya Mats, they will follow this Niyam Kirtan, means Ashtakalya Lila Smarana. And they will follow, as Srila Prabhupada used to do also, because Srila Prabhupada during Kartik, he would become very like introspective, and he would speak very nice, deep, like Radha Tattva and Rasa Tattva Katha, and he would sing many like beautiful songs like Romani Shiromani, Dekite Dekite, and all the Ashtakams. And he used to also follow the Ashtakali Lila Smaranam Kirtans written by Srila Bhaksiddhanta Thakura. So during Kartik, all the Gaudiya Mats, they will follow this. But what Srila Gurudev will do, he will not do this. He will discuss Madhurya Kadambini, and he will discuss like Rai Ramananda Samvad, and he will give us only like few kirtans, but he will never do Ashtakali Lila Smaranam kirtans as they do in Gaudiya Mat. It's a type of, like balance, that Srila Gurudev was finding somehow or other. But the thing is, in a private, whatever you want, they will tell you. If you are qualified to hear, they will disclose to you everything in private. But as a public discourse, they should always consider the lower level. That was Srila Prabhupada's strategy. And as himself told at the end of his pastimes, that I had so much to say, but I was cutting jungles. I couldn't dive so deep. So according to history, these things will progress, like gradually will be like unfolding. All these confidential topics still come to Srila Gurudev, who was like the ripened fruit, this Rupanuga tree, which I like to say always. So in this way, we should be very careful when we try to make this type of neophyte comparisons. Oh, this acharya is very Rasik, that acharya is not. Look, every Vaishnava, every acharya in Gaudiya line, they are topmost Rasik Vaishnavas. Topmost. Don't have any doubt. They are reading the same books. They are studying the same thing. We are in the same line under the one like umbrella, one inspiration. But some are hiding, some are a little more opening, and like these things will go as it should be under their intelligence, under their strategy, in the way they want, and the way they feel their audience is capable to digest. So I'll stop here then. My pranams to all Vanchakalpatarvesya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Nam.
Haribol, Maharaj, first of all, perfect timing. Thank you, because somehow we are actually running on time, despite my own shortcomings here and trying to keep it moving. But you said some really magnificent things today in really helping to unpack the teachings of Srila Bhaksiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. Just a couple of things that I thought were really amazing was how you described early on how he established the training center for Srimati Radhika. I love that, the training and preaching center, because sometimes I when I'm sharing Harikatha, I say, it's like being at MIT, Manjarian training school. When you come on this path, it's the real MIT, and probably more rigorous than that institution could ever imagine. I also love the point that you made and the story about the foolishness of trying to serve our senses in a pretense of serving the Gita or serving God. I thought that was really profound. And this idea that you really brought out, that realization and realized knowledge actually comes through seva. It comes through service and not through just studying books. And even though these books are quite powerful, they are the Brihad Mridanga, as we know, it still requires that Bhagavat to unlock it for us, and to and when we're serving the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Bhaksiddhanta Saraswati, Prabhupada, all the way through the line to our particular bona fide guru, we are in line for divine revelation and transformation. And then I also thought it was really beautiful when you talked about the teachings of offering bhog. Like, there is that place for Vaidhi Bhakti, for following rules and regulations to the best of our ability. And that's where we all start. And we have to eventually get the etiquette and eventually understand these things, which, you know, I'm still trying to learn those. I think many of us are, but that's very kanista, that the madhyam level is, you may not see them offering with so much pomp and circumstance, but they are offering by mind. And then that uttama, that beautiful example, I think you said it was Srila Bharati Maharaj, who accepted everything as prasadam, like, you know, just took everything as that mercy of God. That really is an uttama perspective, where yeah, it doesn't need to be offered because I'm already just getting the remnants, whatever comes to me. It's like the guru, the snake guru, right? Who, like, oh, I accept what comes. I don't make so much endeavor.
That is the conception of seeing Krishna everywhere, like Krishna, real Krishna consciousness. That is it. That there is no separation between, you know, everything and Krishna. He sees Krishna everywhere, in everything, in every act. He breathes, you know, bhakti. So for him, there is no separation. There is nothing that could be, you know, offered, because everything already belongs to. So it's a different conception that we could even understand, but we cannot imitate, because our is quite different, but it's in that sense.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mahavir Maharaj.
Thank you so much.